Let me try to introduce myself. I'm Mr. Yusuf Wasim, one of the director of Equity Professional and also co-founder. Hello.
Hey, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. You have met with a friend of mine, a colleague. His name is Idris. I think he has done a lot of groundwork. I couldn't make it the last class due to one reason or the other. Looking at it today, I'm the lead lecturer as public sector accounting and finance is concerned. He's also there to bear with me. And I forwarded to you 2 lecture notes already, which I need to look into them one after the other, and we can be able to be on the same page. And if you have any challenges, don't hesitate to try to talk to me. But we just need to find a way around it to speed up on how to go about everything to make it more realistic. I know Mr. Idris has done introduction with you. I will also add some things to the notes that are not part of the notes that I also need to explain to you, that we also need to have idea of. Having been, we are in a physical class. We are going to really get it more clearer, but nevertheless, we can do better at this online classes of the content. Let's look at it based on your conversation with Mr. Idris. Just let's watch it. What is public? What do we mean by public? Let me start from there. What is public? Are you all with me? Any idea? Public simply means what? No idea?
Government.
Government? Public is not government though. Public simply means the masses, general masses. How do we meant to look at it? Within a public, they are meant to pick up, we have what we call the rule and the ruler. The rule and the rulers. Within the system, in the public, there are selected people that are meant to represent the society. That is how we come about the government. Simply means government is the machinery that is meant to manage the public as a whole. Let's look at it from that side. Fine. We've been able to come into into the government part, saying that what do we mean by government? But before I will now go in deep, we need to understand that this particular course is 4-in-1. And I want to beg every one of you to really pay attention to what we need to discuss, because we notice that it is a very complex course compared to other courses. Public sector is very, very complex. And if we look at it from the what is being given to us by ICANN, he told us that ICANN tried to explain to us that we need to relate with the environment. We need to relate with the environment to know what is happening in the environment, and we provide what possible solution. Question can come from those angles, saying that what is happening in your environment and what is the possible solution in terms of what case study, which means we can be expecting anything outside the syllabus as this particular course is what concerned. Now, looking at it holistically, public sector has to do with what we call the general masses. And there are people that are meant to govern the general masses, which we refer to them as what? Government. What is government? Who can define government for me, please? What is government? What is government? No idea? Anybody?
Government is by the people, for the people.
I can't hear you, please. Speak up. Hello? If you feel free to talk,
Hello, sir.
I'm with you.
All right. So, government is like a body that is put in place to be like in charge of the people, how they how they go, like how they follow rules and regulations and all of that.
Okay. With your explanation, it seems you have an idea. But I could see from the other hand that the guy said government is the government of the people by the people. No, that's what they call democracy. Democracy is the government of the people by the people and for the people. That is what they call democracy. But when we look at it from the aspect of government, we can look at it in 2 or 3 ways. We can look at it from the aspect saying that government is the machinery through which the will of the state is formulated in order to govern the affairs of the states. Government is the machinery through which the will of the state is formulated in order to govern the affairs of the state. We can also look at it from the aspect of this government is the group of people being elected, vested the power in them through election in order to manage the affairs of the state. What do we refer to as a state? A state is a territory governed by the elected people that have a sovereignty power that beyond external control, which is referred to as a country. There are 4 major characteristics. It must have a defined territory. That is what they call a state. A state must have a government. A state must be what? A sovereign what? State. And there must be people. That's what makes what a state. The state we're referring to, it is not component state. We are talking of what? A nation, a country. And if you now look at it from the different definitions we're looking at, we are making mention of what? Government in, government out. And we said government is what? The machinery through which the will of the state is formulated. What are the functions of government? We cannot look into the functions of the government without considering what we call the arms of government. What do we refer to as arms of government? Arms of government refers to as the division of government in terms of their roles and functions. Arms of government, as Nigeria Constitution is concerned, is divided into 3. We have the executive arms of government, we have the judiciary arms of government, and we have the legislative arms of government. The main function of the legislative is to make law. The major function, they are the lawmakers. They are there to amend the constitution. They are there to create law. They are there to look into the affairs of the state in terms of the rules and regulations. That is one function of the government under the legislative. When we look at it from the judiciary, their major role of these so-called people is that they are there to interpret the constitution. They are there to interpret the law. They are there to look into the statutes. They are there to look into the journals where there is a new law or where there is a change in law and tell us what it means as the society is concerned. When we now look at it from the executive, which is the major arms of government, it has major role to play in terms of what? Protecting the lives and property. Protecting what? Lives and property. Also, to look into the what? To protect lives and property, as we have made mention of, and also to protect the nation from the external attack. To protect the nation from the external attack. It is also their role to provide employment opportunity. It is also one of their function to also what? To make life easy for the citizen. They are also men. It is one of their functions to also control the economy and the price, and also to manage the national resources. All these are functions of what? Government. They are also meant to implement law, which is their primary objective. Law implementation. We now relate this to the economy. What are the objectives? Economic objective. The economic objective in this sense, based on the function we have analyzed, we can look at it holistically in two angles. From the government part and from the economist point of view. The objective of economics is divided into two based on the branches of economics. We have what we call microeconomic objective, and we have what we call macroeconomic objectives. Micro, M-I-C-R-O, microeconomic objectives, and macro, M-A-R. These are the two branches of economics. When we look at it from the small portion, which relates to the what? Micro, that one study the entire household and the firms based on their normal satisfaction. That is, they are meant to provide the necessary goods and services that will satisfy the needs of the household and the firm. That is the major objectives of what? Micro. But when it comes to macro means aggregate. Looking at it from the entire nation, what are the objectives of what? Of the entire nation based on the roles of government. Number one objective, to maintain stable price. To maintain stable price. Number one objective of macro, to maintain stable price. One of the functions of government in relation to economics. When you look at what? Economy as a whole, on a general basis, we can say that, okay, let me finish the objective first before I will now relate it to the what? To the economy as a whole. Aside that, we also have it that it is the duty of the government based on economics to also regulate. It is duty of the government to also look into what the affairs. Excuse me, please. Please, where do we stop, please? Hello?
Hello, sir.
Are you still with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The first one I made mention of, to maintain stable price. Number two, to provide full employment. Full employment. To maintain equilibrium balance of payment. Making how many? 3. To maintain equilibrium balance of payment. To redistribute income. To redistribute income. Making how many?
4, sir.
We now have what we call to have what we call economic growth and economic development, and to maintain stable economy, making 5.
Sir, please come again.
I should recap.
Yes, sir.
The first one, to maintain stable price. That's first objective as microeconomics is concerned. To maintain stable price. 2, to maintain full employment. Maintain what? Full employment. To redistribute income. To redistribute income. To maintain equilibrium balance of payment. Equilibrium balance of payment. And to maintain stable economy. Between me and you, as Nigerian system is concerned, out of what we listed, which one do we achieve? Please feel free to talk. I'm not holding
None of the above. None of the above.
None of the
above.
above, sir.
Simply means we don't have government.
Yes, sir.
Simply means we don't have government. It is the duty of a nation, it is the duty of the government of a nation to regulate the general price of that nation. To put in place what we call price control board. These are duties of a government, not the useless government we have as Nigerian system is concerned, that will not regulate the general price of goods and services. Because if the general price for goods and services are not being regulated, definitely there is going to be inflation. Because people will be making more profit than necessary. And the price of things will be going up day in, day out. We also look at it from another dimension. Full employment. Look at the population of the people that are being, the students, the graduates that are being released year in, year out in Nigeria. What job are they being able to offer to them? No job. And one of the functions of government is to provide what? Is to regulate the economy by making sure there is full employment. And one of the government functions say it is their duty to provide what? Employment opportunity. Where the business environment is conducive for investors, they will come down to the country to invest into different arms of business. That will give opportunity for people to secure jobs. Not in the system that they are telling us that governments don't have what? Space for people. And government don't have what? Security. One of the functions of the government is to protect lives and property by providing what? Security. Where are the security in Nigeria? No security. But they want to create another ministry called livestock ministry. And we have agriculture, Ministry of Agriculture. What is the role of Ministry of Agriculture if they want to create what? Ministry of Livestock. Is that government? They are just wasting our resources because they cannot control the system, simply because those people are not there on merit. They don't have anything to offer. That is why they cannot what? Do we have stable economy? Our economy is not stable. Simply because the Minister of Finance, the one in the world, CBN, presently, they are not doing anything. They don't have anything to offer. Kudos to Okonjo-Iweala when she was there as the Minister of Finance. She played a major role by finding a way around it to reduce, to eradicate, to repudiate our debts in the what? In the World Bank. Simply because she has better understanding on how to go about it. Those people that are there today, they have no sense. The one that call himself Wali Edun, within a year, we cannot see what he has done as economy is concerned, and he called himself what? Minister of Finance. And one of the functions of Minister of Finance is to look into the what? How to regulate the economic system and advise the government on that. The one in the CBN has nothing to offer. Dollar is going up today, coming out tomorrow. When you look at it from that particular perspective, it is very glaring that the sense of reasoning of so-called the CBN governor doesn't have a what? A reasonable what sense. How do we go from there? Soludo in 2005 observed a lot of changes in the economy as what market is concerned in terms of what? World economic crisis. He foreseen that this will surely harm the what? The financing part of the nation. He tried to advise the government that they should go into what we call banking recapitalization in order to regulate the economic system. And in that system, and during that particular period, we were having about 125 banks. In the process of recapitalization and merger and acquisition that took place in that particular process, a lot of people invested in business in the banking system. And as a result of that, our banks, they try to match in the sense that they want to what? Create more capital. And we survive that particular system and that particular process. That is what we call those who have sense that have something to offer in the government system. As that economic system is concerned, governments have a major role to play, but they are not playing their roles. When we look at it from what we call balance of payment, Nigeria needs to maintain equilibrium balance of payment in terms of what? Importation and exportation. For us to have equilibrium, for us to be at the equilibrium point, our import equals to exports. Or better still, in order to have a surplus, our export must what? Be higher than imports. Are you with me? Now, looking at it from that particular perspective, we can say that government is not playing the role they are meant to play in terms of their function. Because of what? They don't have sense of what? Reasoning. They don't have the interest of the masses at heart. Now, looking at it, the system of government we are practicing in Nigeria, or the one we have practiced before now, we can look at it that we have about 3 or 4 systems of government. We have what we call federalism system of government. We have what we also have what we call confederalism system of government, and we have what we call unitary system of government. We have practiced unitary system of government during the era of what? Akunyi Ironsi, where decision is coming from the what? From the central. The central will dictate what will happen in all other arms of war, in all other components of the what? Government. We also practice in the past confederation system of government. Confederation system of government. Confederation system of government is a system of government in which the component states are more powerful than the central government. This is what we practice in 1914 when we are having three regions. The northern region, the southern region, and the western region. And the system was so perfect in the sense that every regions are trying to look into the resources they can use to cater for the nation. And they do their contribution to the central. But immediately we are looking at it that government needs to come closer to the citizen when we introduce what we call federalism system of government, where the system of government is divided into three. Where we have what we call the component states, we have what we call the central government, and we have what we call the local government. How do they divide it? We have what we call the federal system of government, we have what we call the state government, and we have what we call the local government, in order to make the government to be closer to the people. And the central government is now more powerful than the component states. They are the one to distribute the revenue to the other arms of to the other tiers of government. The three tiers of government we have: federal, the states, and and the local government. The reason why local government is being created is to make sure the government are very close to the people.
Hello, sir. We cannot hear you again now.
Okay, I'm coming.
Okay, sir.
Are we together? On that
Yes,
note,
sir.
we can say that government are more sensible when they are doing what they're supposed to do. But the Nigerian system of government is totally out of it. When we now look at it from the public sector accounting, we've been able to look into the roles of government. We've been able to look into the roles of government and their functions. Is it clear? Hello?
Yes. Yes, sir. It's clear, sir.
Yes, sir. It's clear.
Let's now look at it from what we have been able to discuss. What is public sector accounting based on what we have discussed? I have Adams defined public sector accounting in his book as process of recording, communicating, summarizing, classifying, and interpreting government financial statement and statistics in aggregate and in detail. It concerns with the receipt, custodies, disbursement, retiring of stewardship, rendering of stewardship on public funds entrusted. What are we referring to? In a simple analysis, this is complex, we all know that. In a simple analysis, we can say that public sector accounting is the process taking records. Now, looking into it, we have
Please repeat,
what
sir.
we call, there is a lot.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Please come again, sir, with the definition. The
The
network
definition.
was breaking. Yes, sir.
He said, Adams defined in his book that public sector accounting is the process of recording, communicating, summarizing, analyzing, and interpreting government financial statements and statistics in aggregate and in details. It's concerned with the receipt, custody, and disbursement and rendering of stewardship on public funds entrusted. We now say in a simple form, public sector accounting is the process of recording, analyzing, summarizing, classifying, accumulating the public sector financial records, based on revenue and expenditure, being carried out by the government on behalf of the nation in order to take necessary decisions in terms of growth and development. In order to take necessary decisions in terms of growth and development. It doesn't change from the definition you had before. But what we are looking at it here is that we are considering the income and expenditure of the nation. That is what makes up the financial statement. What is total revenue government have generated this particular period, and what is the expenditure they have what? The total money they have spent for keeping the what? For managing the revenue of a nation and expenditure. That is the purpose of what? Public sector accounting. We look at it from the objective of public sector accounting. What are the objectives of public sector accounting? In a word, let me just give you a summary of 3 or 5 words, things that you need to remember. You don't need to cram. Just look at it. Look at it. For the first thing that government needs to look into, they are into the system, they will need to plan. Government need to plan. Simply means they use public sector accounting for planning purposes. I've not read what is in the note I gave you. I'm just telling you this one offhand. Government needs to plan for the future. Immediately take over the government, they will look into it and say that what do we need to do to make the nation be in a normal position. Hello? Hello?
Yes,
Yes, sir, I will see.
I can't hear you. Speak well. Speak up. You can't hear me, ba?
I can hear you.
Continue, sir.
Okay. Now, if from the aspect of planning we are referring to, government needs to prepare annual budget before they can spend money. Government needs to prepare what? Annual budget that needs to be approved by the National Assembly. After the preparation of the national budget, if you look at it, looking at it together, it's very clear that government has much responsibility than even the private sector. Because if the environment, the nation is not conducive, nobody can invest, and there's no way government will make money from them. because the major source of finance of government is tax. And the environment is not conducive. How will they get money? Which means they need what we call planning. And one of the tools of planning is this particular word, public sector accounting, where they will know the total what process that they need to follow. Now, one of the process that government needs to be doing every 10 years, according to the Nigerian Constitution, is what we call census, to know the total number. That is why the definition we gave you, we said, and statistics in aggregate, they need to know the total number of people in a nation, at least within 10 years. That will enable them to know the kind of plan that they need to do to put in place for the citizen. But where they are not doing the necessary things, there is no way they can achieve what they're supposed to achieve. Sorry for taking you back to this one. Looking at it from here, we have different types of economic system which determine the economist we are referring to. We have what we call capitalist system of government. We have what we call socialist system of government. We have what we call mixed economy. We have communist economic system. Which one are we practicing in Nigeria? Which type of economic system are we practicing in Nigeria?
Mixed economy.
Mixed economy. And where the president of a nation is capitalist, such a nation can never balance. Look at it, when the president of US was capitalist, that's their former president. What is the name of their former president?
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump. Donald Trump was capitalist. Look at the kind of problems that they were having at that particular period, compared to what we are also having in Nigeria presently. We are facing a lot of challenges because of what? The person that is in the position of president today is also a capitalist. Capitalists, they are profit-oriented set of people. They don't have the interest of the masses at heart. All their concern is how to make money. That is why Tinubu today is not ready to regulate the general price of goods and services, because it's going to affect his business. Tinubu don't believe in the citizen. Let's go back to the function of what? Public sector. That is why the planning of Tinubu is not working. Another one, apart from planning, it helps in terms of policy development, policy making. Public sector accounting assists the government in the area of what? Policy and strategy development. They will know the best policy that will enable the government to make money and also to satisfy the citizen. In terms of what? Policy development. It's another means of measuring what? Government performance. We need to measure the government performance. In terms of the revenue they have generated and in terms of expenditure they have incurred. All these are the purpose of public sector accounting. It can also be used as a means of appraising what? Investment. Government needs to evaluate the public investment before they can invest money into them. They don't just commit money into things that they just allocate any money anyhow because it's national resources. All these are the what? Simple analysis in terms of the what? Objective or purpose or functions of government. Now, let's look at what we have in our book and see. It is also helped in the area of what decision making. About 6 I've given to you. Let's now look at what the book says, whether it relates to what we have talked about or not. Number 1 here says what? Ascertaining the legitimacy of transactions and their compliance with establishment of norms, rules, and regulations and status. Provides evidence of stewardship. Assists in planning and control. Assists objectives and timely reports. Provide basis for decision making. Enhance appraisal of efficiency of management. Highlight various sources of revenue, receivables, and expenditure to be incurred. Identify source of funds, capital projects. Evaluate the economy, efficiency, and effectiveness with the public sector organization pursuing their goals and objectives. Ensuring that costs are matched by at least equivalent benefits. Providing the details of outstanding long-term commitments and financial obligations of government. All these are what? Functions and roles to be played by what? Government. As public sector is also concerned, we have users of what? Public sector information. There are 2 users. We have the internal users, we have the external users. The internal users are those who are there to prepare the reports, financial reports in the public sector, and also make use of it in the public sector for decision making. This includes the following: the president's cabinet. When we say presidential cabinet, we are referring to what? The ministers. Presidential cabinet simply means what? The ministers. The ministers are also meant to use what? The information to attain 1 or 2 things in their roles. We talk of the executive governor of a state. We talk of the commissioners. We talk of administrators. We talk of directors in ministry. We talk of the employees. All these are internal users. But when it comes to external users, these are the people that make use of the public sector what? Information, accounting information outside the what? The government. We have the National Assembly. We have the what? House of Rep. We have the judiciary arms of government. We have the journalists. We have the pressure groups. We have the investors. We have the foreigners. We have the World Bank. And other related what? People and the public at large. Labor union is not what? Internal, but falls under what? Under pressure group. Labor union fall under the pressure groups. Labor union falls under what? The pressure groups. Those who always look into the policy of the government, and if the policy of the government is not favorable to them, they can agitate. They can speak against the government. Those are the people we call the pressure groups. And this labor union fall under the pressure groups. They are not internal. Mistakenly don't go and take what? Labor union as what? Internal. You can see what we have here. Look at your notes. If you are with it, we have what we call the executive, such as the president, the Federal Republic of Nigeria, governors of the states, the chairman of local government council, the federal ministers and state commissioners, the top administrators of what? Of the government department, e.g. permanent secretary, and the directors. We also have the chief executive government business enterprise, parastatals, such as what? NEPA and thereabouts, PHN, and others. Subordinates who oils and administration well. Then we also have what we call organized what? the public service, not the labor union anymore. Organize what? Labor union in the public what? Service. That is not under the pressure group this one belongs to. Within the what? Within the public sector, in terms of the service. I'm changing it, I will forward to you. Let's call it organized civil service, civil servant. In the public sector, in the what? Public service. Now let's look at the external. Under the external, we have the National Assembly, we have the members of the public, we have the government, apart from the one that are rendering the reports. We have foreign countries, we have financial institutions, this and that, researchers, political party, trade union. That is why I changed what? That one that we call the what? The labor union. Trade union and labor union, they are performing the same function. Now, we look at it. Importance of public sector information to users. What do we use it for? Basically, they are using it for assessment. Now, I'm trying to see what you do. What are the sources of information and regulation framework in the public sector? That is, where can we gather the information as public sector is concerned? Number one is Nigerian Constitution. Nigeria Constitution. That's 1999, amended in 2004. We can generate all necessary information we need here in terms of what? Revenue allocation, in terms of what? Arms of government, in terms of revenue to be what? To be recognized, the receipt and payment, the public officers, the public finance officers, the roles of the president. All what we need are there in the Nigeria Constitution. In terms of consolidated revenue fund, in terms of what? Federation account, all these are stated in the Nigeria Constitution. Aside that, we also have what we call Audit Ordinance Act. We also have Finance Act 1958, amended 1999, amended 2004, amended 2023. All these are sources of what? Information. In terms of the Audit Ordinance, we are looking at it from what we call Section 1 to Section 3. Mandate the Accountant General of the Federation to furnish the public's general Auditor General for the Federation with the country financial information. That is what that audit ordinance is all about. Why, when we look at it from the word Finance Act, it regulates the what? Accounting system, the books of account to be kept, the procedure to be followed in preparing the account and the financial what? Statement in all ministries and for the entire nation. We also have what we call Financial Regulation Act, amended 2009. These are the accounting what? Manual of the federal what? Of the government, ministry, and extra ministerial department. is telling us, is like what? Giving us what as a guide. Financial Regulation Act is being given out. It states the way and now a manner in which the public sector accounting is meant to be prepared. The guides, what we are meant to follow when we are preparing the account. We also have what we call the circular in terms of financial circular, or we talk of what treasury circular. When there is an amendment in the provision of the regulation within the ministry, they make use of what we call circular to pass the information around. We also have what we call Public Procurement Act 2007. That one is trying to what? To guide us, the National Council on Public what? Procurement and the Bureau of Public what? Procurement, as to the regulatory what? Authority, responsibility, and monitoring and overseeing all the public procurement. That is, it's meant to give them a guide on what they are meant to do when they want to purchase something on behalf of the government in the public sector. It stated the rules, the standard they are meant to follow. In terms of what? Putting in place what we call the tender board. Getting quotation from people. Inviting a lot of what? Contractors to submit their quotations before they will now finalize what they are meant to do. Not the one we are doing in Nigeria presently. We don't regulate anything. We also have what we call what? Physical Responsibility Act. That one is talking of what? The prudent management of the national resources. How the national resources is meant to be managed. Ensure long-term macroeconomic stability. We'll discuss it today. Microeconomic what? Stability in terms of what? Microeconomic objective for the nation. In terms of what? How to manage what? The national debt, the public borrowing, in terms of transparency and accountability. Where there is responsibility, there must be accountability. But our government, they have responsibility, no accountability. They are not ready to give account of the way they are spending the public money. And other related laws. Aside that one, we also have what we call Gazette. Gazette is another means of what? Passing information around.
Hello, sir.
I'm with you.
Okay, I have a question.
You are free.
Okay, in case of exam purpose, will we be asked to discuss the regulatory framework or just to state it with the date?
I can't hear you clearly. Can you speak up?
Okay, I asked in the respect of exams, like we will be asked or can we be asked
If
to
they ask you to discuss.
yes,
Hello?
yes, either to discuss or is it or just to state
Explain.
the
Discuss or explain the Financial Regulation what? Abi?
yes.
I've said it. Financial Regulation Act, what does it mean? It is accounting manual of the government in the ministry. It is a what? It is a manual that gives a guide, the financial guide, on how to treat various accounting transactions in each ministry. In terms of receipts and payments, in terms of public expenditure, in terms of revenue collection. All these are stated clearly Is a topic on its own. As we are still going to discuss it. But the simple meaning of it is that it is what? Accounting guide in the public sector that provide the rules and regulations that are meant to be followed by each ministry and extra-ministerial department in terms of what? Recognition and treatment of what? Accounting transactions. One of these, it happened to what they call this particular lady that she's been suspended as a result of what?
Better Edu.
Edu.
Better
If you
Edu.
look at it as a good head of ministry is refers to be the what? A guide is meant to what? To ensure proper accountability in each ministry. The role is meant to play as the head, but she's there as a political head, not the head of ministry. Quite all right, it's just a minister. The head of that ministry is called what? The permanent secretary. But the permanent secretary is meant to what? To give report. Is meant to report to the what? To the political what? Commissioner. I mean, so either commissioner or what? The minister. After 4 years, minister is going, but the permanent secretary still remain in the position if it is not yet what? Reach retirement age. But all these rules and regulations must be ensured by FR 105, that is Financial Regulation Act of 105. There are rules, regulations, government policy that they are meant to follow. For you to issue out what? For money to be released in each ministry, warrant needs to be released by the finance minister. When the finance minister releases the financial warrant, that's what is giving authority to the accountant general to say that money can be released for that particular transaction. Simply means one of the means of controlling expenditure as Financial Regulation Act is concerned is the use of what? Warrants. It's a topic on its own. Because we have what we call capital warrant and we have what we call the recurrent what? Expenditure warrant. Any question again? Hello?
No, sir.
Are you okay? Should I continue?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let's now look at it. There are bases for preparing accounts in the public sector. There are bases for accounting preparation in the public sector and recognition of accounting transaction and treatment of accounting transaction in the public sector. All not before the introduction of public sector accounting standard. All not before the introduction of public sector accounting standard. Are you all with me? Public sector accounting is being prepared on the basis of cash. They call it what? Cash basis. But immediately they introduce public sector accounting standard, then there is what we call accurate basis. This also being, we also use accurate basis in preparing the what? Financial report in the public sector. Then what is the meaning of these two before we look into the amendments that they put in place? The cash basis is one of the accounting bases that simply means revenue is meant to be recognized when cash is received. Revenue is to be recognized when cash is received. And expenditure is meant to be what? Is meant to be what? Incurred when cash is paid. Expenditure is meant to be incurred when cash is paid. Revenue is meant to be recognized when cash is received. If we don't receive cash, we don't recognize revenue. Expenditure is meant to be recognized only when there is payment of what? Cash. simply means cash transaction needs to take on board when it comes to what cash basis. If cash is doesn't involved, if there's no movement of cash, there is nothing like an account. No transaction. That is the base of what cash basis. And when you are using cash basis in preparing your account, then you are meant to start your statement of financial position with liquid assets. Are you all with me? In preparing your financial statement, you are meant to start your financial what? Statement of financial position with liquid asset, which is what? Cash and cash equivalent. If question says use cash basis, you are meant to use cash basis to prepare your financial statement. When you are preparing such account, your statement of financial position must start with what? Liquid asset. If you don't start with liquid asset, they will won't give all what you have prepared will be cancelled. Let's look at what the note says about cash basis. Are you all with me?
Yes, sir.
Should we still continue?
Yeah.
It is the basis of accounting under which revenue is recorded only when cash is received, and expenditure is recognized only when cash is paid. Simple analysis. This method is very simple to understand in terms of advantages and features. It's very simple to understand. It eliminates the issue of debts or creditors. No debts, no creditors, no bad debts. Are you all with me? It permits easy identification of those who have authorized payment and collect revenue. It allows comparison of amount provided in budget and the actual spent. It saves time and it's easy to operate. It permits delegation of works. All these are what? The cost of this asset is written off once in a year. That is, when you make payment for anything capital project, we deduct it straightforward. It doesn't keep account of what? Fixed asset that they want to create provision. It doesn't make provision for bad debt. It doesn't make provision for what? No provision for depreciation when it comes to what? Cash basis. That is what it means. In terms of what? Disadvantages, which is what we have here. But I normally give them as features. Look at it. It takes unrealistic in terms of what? Transaction as only the settlement of liability recognized. It doesn't make provision for depreciation, which is what I've made mention of. Asset is meant to be written off once. It doesn't give true picture accuracy in terms of what? Picture of what? Financials appears at the end of the year. It doesn't support what? Economic decision, because a lot of things are meant to be hiding. They are meant to be what? Under eye. It doesn't consider what? Matching concept. All these are what? Disadvantages. And we can look at them as what? Those are what? Of cash. Another one is what? Modified cash basis. But before I will discuss the modified cash basis, I will first discuss what? Accrual basis. Accrual basis is another accounting what? Basis that take into consideration element of credit facilities in the system. What does this one say? This accounting basis recognize revenue when it is earned and expenditure when it is being incurred. It recognizes revenue when it is what? Earned. When you earn the revenue, you recognize it. And when you incur the expenditure, you also recognize it. It is not the time that payment take on board. That is when you are not going to recognize it. No. Which is in support of what we call realization what concept and matching concept. Let's look at what it is. Revenue is recorded when earned and expenditure acknowledged as liability. This it takes a realistic view of financial reports, take into consideration all sorts of what economic investment decisions, and give true picture of what financial statement is all about. It brings on board the matching concept, make provision for it makes provision for the treatment of accounts in terms of what depreciation and in terms of what bad debt. Now let's now look at it. When this government, when the public sector, when the public sector, when the public sector
Hello, sir.
are you all with me? Hello?
Hello, sir.
Yeah. When they now look at the system that in one way or the other, government is losing money, they also try to bring up what we call modified cash basis and modified accrual basis. For the modified cash basis, there is a combination of both accrual and cash. In a simple analysis, modified cash basis try to take into consideration the recognition, excuse me, sorry. Now, when you look at it from the what? Modified cash basis, there are a particular period, maximum of 3 months, after the end of the year, so as to capture the substantial amount of income and expenditure relating to the year ended. Simply means they recognize the element of what? Expenditure. In this situation, revenue are recognized on the basis of accrual, while expenditure are recognized on the basis of what? Cash. Revenue are recognized on the basis of accrual basis, while expenditure are recognized on what? Cash basis. Under modified what? Cash basis. While when we look at it from the what? Modified accrual basis, the reverse is the case. Revenue are recognized on what? On cash basis, while expenditure are recognized on accrual basis in terms of what? Fixed asset, that is non-current asset. That's the reason why when you are using what? Accrual basis, you use what we call accrual basis. And when you are preparing what? You are preparing your financial statement, we start from what? We don't start from the liquid asset, but we start from what we call non-current asset, which is the fixed asset, in preparing our financial statement. Another basis, another accounting basis is what we call commitment basis. Commitment basis is another base of accounting that anticipates for future public activities that are meant to be taken into consideration when preparing reports in terms of budget and in terms of what? Spending. What does this mean? modified cash basis. Commitment basis. It is a basis that recorded anticipated expenditure evidenced by a contract or purchases order. In the public sector, finance, budgetary, and accounting system are closely related to the commitment basis. Simply means they must anticipate what their future expenditure will look like before they can spend money. Government don't just spend money for the sake of what I just want to spend. I'm not using Nigerian case study. Nigerian case study is always abnormal. What we are saying is the government will foresee that these are the things we are meant to do. That is the reason why they need to prepare budget. The budget they are preparing, not the budget we are referring to in class. We are talking of what we call national budget. National budget. What is national budget, please? What is national budget? Can anyone tell me of national budget? National budget is a statement, quantitative statement prepared to anticipate for future or estimated revenue and estimated expenditure. Estimated revenue and estimated expenditure. The national budget is divided into three. We have what we call surplus budget. We have what we call deficit budget. We have what we call balanced budget. There are purposes for all these budgets under the what? Commitment what? Basis. Surplus budget is possible where the estimated revenue is greater than the estimated expenditure. That is surplus what? Budget. And a country will always look into surplus budget if they want to reduce the total money in circulation. When there is what? Inflation. Another one is what? Deficit budget. Deficit budget is possible at a point where the estimated expenditure is higher than the estimated revenue. And balanced budget is possible where the estimated expenditure equals to estimated what? Revenue. This is what we refer to as what? National budget.
Hello, sir.
I'm with you.
Sir, please come again with the definition of the national budget.
National budget refers to as quantitative statement. Quantitative statement that shows the proposed estimated revenue and proposed estimated expenditure. Proposed estimated revenue and proposed estimated expenditure. And we have three types of national budget. We have surplus budget, we have deficit budget, and we have what we call balanced budget. Is that clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Welcome. Okay. Let's look at what? Comparison. That is the difference between the public sector and private sector. Difference between the public sector and private sector. There will be a lot of difference in what we have that I'm going to give to you that's more reasonable. I will pick it one after the other. Number one, objective. Number one, objective. Are we together? Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Objective of public sector is to protect the interests of the masses in terms of welfareism. To protect the interests of the masses in terms of what? Welfareism. To take care of the what? Welfare of the citizen with a reasonable cost. one of the objectives of what? Public sector. Private sector, the objective of private sector is for profit maximization, to maximize profit. That is the reason why the marginal cost in the public sector is equal to 0, while the marginal cost of the private sector is equal to revenue, marginal revenue. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Let's look at it. Number 2, sources of revenue. Sources of revenue. The main sources of revenue in the public sector is taxation. The main sources of revenue in the public sector is what? Taxation. Fines, penalties, rates. These are the what? Sources of government what? Revenue. But sources of revenue in the private sector is what? Capital provided by the shareholders. The sales of goods or service rendered. These are the means through which they can what? They can gather what? Money or funds. Ownership. You might not see it there, but let me add it to it. Ownership. The ownership of the public sector. Ownership. Hello, Olakunle. You raise your hand.
Yes, sir. So, sorry to take us back a little. You were like while explaining the classification of the public sector, you also mentioned that we have the modified accrual basis, which you said it's a mixture of two bases, cash and accrual. And then you mentioned also that we have modified cash basis, or you didn't explain that.
I did.
So
I did.
Oh, maybe the modified cash basis.
The modified cash basis has a period, maximum of 3 months, to account for unreceived transactions. And when I said in a simple analysis, revenue under the modified cash basis, revenue is recognized on the cash basis, while expenditure is recognized. Revenue is recognized on accrual basis. Revenue is recognized on accrual basis to account for those who are owing government money, while expenditure is recognized on cash basis. That is modified cash basis. Revenue is recognized on what? Cash basis. Revenue is recognized on accrual basis. Government revenues are meant to be recognized on what? Accrual basis, to account for those who are owing government money, while expenditure is recognized on what? Cash basis. The reverse is the case under modified what? Accrual basis. Revenue under modified accrual basis, revenue is recognized on cash basis, while expenditure is recognized on accrual basis in terms of fixed assets. All our fixed assets are meant to be recognized on accrual basis when it comes to what? Modified what? Accrual basis. Is that clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
But take note, the main accounting basis in the public sector, is what? Cash basis. While in the private sector, they use what? Accrual basis. That's another difference. But because of the application of what? Public sector accounting, they are there to use both what? Cash basis and accrual basis as at now. Another area of differences in the public sector and private sector is ownership. Who and who are there to refer to as the owner of the public sector? The owners of the public sector, ownership of public sector are referred to as what? Taxpayer. Ownership are referred to as what? Taxpayer. While the ownership in the private sector is referred to as what? Shareholders. The ownership in the what? Private sector refers to as what? The shareholders. While in the public sector, the taxpayers. That's the reason why they said, don't spoil the public what? Assets. They are your properties. Don't vandalize what? Public property, because they use your money to provide those things. Another area of their difference is management. Management and stewardship. The public sector is being managed by the government, while private sector is managed by the board of directors. Public sector is managed by the government. Private sector is managed by board of directors. In terms of what? Accounting standard. In the public sector, we use what we call Public Sector International Accounting Standard. Public Sector International Accounting Standard. That is what we use to prepare our financial statement in the public sector. While in the private sector, they make use of what we refer to as International Financial Reporting Standard and International Accounting Standard. In terms of accounting concepts, we have the entity concept, the going concern, the dual concept. All these are concepts that you have idea of, that you all know. And in terms of what? Accounting convention, we talk of the fairness and objectivity, we talk of consistency, substance over form, and materiality. All these are what you are known of. Any question?
Yes, sir.
This is okay. I'm with you.
Okay, can government be referred to as taxpayers too?
Pick up, I can't hear you, please.
Can they be referred to as taxpayers?
Can they refer to as taxpayer?
Yes.
Government is not taxpayer.
Okay.
It is the public that are meant to pay tax.
All right.
The civil servants are taxpayers. They are the employees in the public sector. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
But those who are the representative in the public sector, do you understand? They are not the taxpayer. They don't refer them as taxpayer, but they are the management. Do you think a president is paying tax?
He should pay tax, sir.
He should pay tax in the Nigerian system. Who will deduct the president's money? On a good day.
The salaries and wages commission should deduct his money and remit to FIRS.
On a good day. Do you understand? It is the net that's supposed to be paid to the account. Or the government representative. But
Hello,
Nigeria, hello?
Yeah, is it applicable to other countries or just Nigeria?
On a good day, that's what I'm saying. In a real sense, we are all citizens of the nation. And any income you are making, do you understand? You are meant to pay certain amount of money to the government to take care of the citizen. I made mention of something to you under what? Under the macroeconomic objectives, that there is what we call redistribution of income. I expected you guys to ask me a question. What does it mean? Redistribution of income is the process of, is what? One of the objectives of making life easier for the poor by taking much from the rich and take less from the poor in order to take care of the society. Which simply means what? Tax. What do we call tax? Tax is what? Compulsory levy imposed on the citizen, regardless your position or the job you are doing. They don't want to know. Simply means these people, they are also meant to pay tax. There is a lot of businesses that are going on in Nigeria that tax are not being deducted. If we are to evaluate what is in the Nigerian system, on a good day, are you with me? On a good day, then tax Nigeria, some of these producers or the entrepreneur they are in debt. Are you with me? But based on the Nigerian constitution, Nigerian president is not paying tax. But immediately is out of the seat, it's meant to pay tax. It's not, they are not paying tax. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Any question again? Hello,
Hello, sir.
I'm with you.
So, sir, this material you have is more updated than the one you shared with us. I don't know if it's possible for us to be able to get this.
I've sent this one to you already.
Well, the one I have is just public sector accounting. I mean, introduction to public sector accounting. It does not have finance. I don't know. That's the one I have on the
That's
platform.
not my own. That might be Mr. Idris' own.
Okay.
Go and check. It's in your I sent to the platform also. But I can forward it today after the class.
I just recently joined the online class, so maybe it was
that's the reason why I will forward it to you. Don't worry. Now, note the government, as in the representative of the government, they are meant to pay payee. It's not that the tax we're referring to, because we don't expect them to be doing business while they are in the system. You don't understand what we're saying? While they are in the system, they are not expected to pay tax. I'm not saying they are not paying payee. The payee will be deducted from the money they will pay to them as salary. It is the net that will be given to them. I don't know whether you understand what I'm talking about. Is it clear?
Yes,
To
sir.
justify the question you asked me, that's why I'm trying to explain this. They are meant to pay payee. But other businesses, they don't expect them that they are doing business while they are in power. If today I'm being appointed, do you understand? As a commissioner, I'll be collecting salary. Why I cannot collect salary elsewhere? I will retire my position where I'm working before. Any other businesses, then the company will be taking care of that. Why in the government, I'll be paying payee. Is that clear? But mostly in the system, Nigerian system is abnormal. I don't want to go there. Any question, please? This is a summary of chapter 1 as the syllabus is concerned. Hello?
Hello, sir.
Now, in my next class, I will also look into what we refer to as public sector accounting and finance. That is public finance officer, public finance officer. There are elements of calculation in that one. which we are going to look at it holistically on the system also. I will forward these two notes. If we can be able to finish that one next class, our coming class will now be sources of government revenue.